Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Venture Forward. It's August 2023 and adventure is afoot. I covered a lot more ground since last week's episode V21E1. In keeping with the volcano theme, which isn't by design, I am in Gifford-Pinchot National Forest in southern Washington at the foot of Mount St Helens. But before I arrived here, I passed through Oregon and traveled up the coast a little bit. I spent one night at Rock Creek Campground, which is a Forest Service campground just off of Highway 101, and it's a small first-come, first-served campground that you can count on being pretty busy during the summer months. But the nice thing about Rock Creek is, from your campsite you can walk back to the highway, follow a footpath under the bridge, and enjoy the beach. It was lovely. I walked up and down a little bit. I got my toes in the sand. I sat on a rock and watched the surf. I've been looking forward to this moment. So I got up here to Washington last night, and from I-5 I turned east to venture into Gifford-Pinchot. This is the Mount St Helens area, and it's pretty busy. There's a lot of people out sightseeing. A lot of the other dispersed campsites are occupied. But once I left pavement and got off the beaten path, I was able to find this site, which is pretty nice. The forest road in was rough and it was narrow with tree branches, but it wasn't technical and I was able to get the van through just fine. It's a spacious clearing overlooking a deep wash. There's a primitive stone fire ring, enough room for 2 or 3 vehicles, just an inkling of cell service. And behind me through the trees, when it's not obscured by clouds, is Mount St Helens itself. It was a good campsite. Quiet, safe, fairly easy to access, but still private and secluded. Now I'm ready to do some exploring. The goal is to head north through Washington State and travel as far as possible only on forest roads to get close to Seattle or at least Mount Rainier. My girlfriend Shannon is flying in to join me at the end of this week, so I do have to make my way to Seattle. But I have plenty of time to get there. It's only Monday, and I want to see where that goes. Fingers crossed for this route. It's pretty overgrown, there's a lot of deadfall, and according to the motor vehicle use map, it's, I don't know, maybe 7 miles long. That's the biggest challenge I usually face with a van. It's very tall, so if I encounter something falling over the trail, I might not be able to squeeze under it. And this is it. This is my way down the mountain, so if this doesn't work out, then it's a lot of backtracking and pavement pounding. Hold that thought. It looked like someone had cut a tunnel through that deadfall about the size of an ATV. Nobody ever thinks about the Winnebagos. That deadfall doesn't bode well. I'm about halfway done this forest road, and there are plenty of opportunities for me to encounter something that I can't clear. I'm still going to keep my fingers crossed. I might make it through to the next major artery, but it's a roll of the dice. And if that isn't the case, I need to be okay with it. You win a few, you lose a few. It is indeed a forest road past this barrier on the motor vehicle use map, but it passes through working forest where there's likely a logging operation. So I am going to have to backtrack quite far. So I'll resume recording again when I'm back up the mountain, down, around, and then somewhere over there, somewhere new. Might be an hour or two or three. That gate really set me back. It was around 11:30 a.m. when I encountered it, and now it's 3 p.m. So I had to return to pavement, go down the mountain. I took the opportunity to top off on diesel. Now, since it's already so late in the day, I have it in my mind to seek out an epic campsite for the night. So I very randomly picked this forest road to explore for a campsite, and I don't know, it's baseless. It's just like, oh, that'll do. I'm ready to find camp, settle in someplace for the rest of today, and then tomorrow cover more ground. Hopefully it'll be more productive. A really good campsite tonight, and just in time because I am beat. It was narrow single lane, but otherwise a very well-groomed forest road that wound its way up this mountain. A very beautiful natural scenery. On the drive up, there was an extraordinary view of Mount Adams, which is directly to the east. When I got to this spot, the mountain was obscured by clouds, but shortly before sunset, the clouds broke and the mountain's in plain sight right over there. There's a stone fire ring, enough room for 1 or 2 vehicles, and not much in the way of cell service. But this is a great sight. I'm excited to see it in the morning light, and I'm gonna get some shut-eye. It was a beautiful misty morning this morning when I woke up around 6 a.m. That was exactly what I was hoping to wake up to. It's just so Pacific Northwest. Now it's 8 a.m. 2 hours later, and there are still some low-hanging clouds in the valley, but as you can see, the sun is out, the birds are singing. It's shaping up to be a beautiful day. I'm gonna get going, but I'm making good headway, so I'm not gonna be focused on covering ground today. Instead, today I'm gonna get an early start and explore this general vicinity. Try to find another campsite as beautiful as this one, but ideally something that's next to water. It doesn't matter if it's a lake or a river, a dispersed site, or a fee campground. I just want to enjoy this lovely area for one more night. Wow, the Forest Service campgrounds, the fee campgrounds that are lakeside here in Gifford-Pinchot are all sold out right now in early August. They look really nice, typical Forest Service campground amenities, picnic tables, fire rings, vault toilets. A little bit crowded right now though. Off-season probably is the best time to come here. And here's a free dispersed site just a stone's throw from that crowded campground. And there's no one, and it's beautiful. This campsite is nice, but it's the first candidate that I found today. It's 10 a.m., so I'm going to put a pin in it and continue to explore. Maybe come back here if I don't find anything else. Alright, I found a good spot after driving down almost every single forest road spur that I happened upon in the last 20 miles. This is great. I was starting to doubt that I'd be able to find a campsite like this by the water. The lakes in particular are very busy, but I found this neglected forest road spur on the motor vehicle use map. I followed it down and here we go. Nothing like going on a hike with a gut full of spaghetti and soaking wet, disgusting pair of chucks. But this, all of this is so amazing. I was expecting the water to be frigid because the streams are ice cold, probably water flowing down from the top of the mountain, but the lake was just right. Oh, felt so good. The hike to the lake from this dispersed campsite was about 1 mile, but at the lake there's a Forest Service fee campground that puts you right there. There were a few campers when I passed through, which is why I opted for my privacy and came here, and I don't have any regrets. This spot is awesome. It's not a big campsite. There's room for about 1 vehicle. Any stock four-wheel drive can get here, and it's about 1 mile from the main forest road. I'm gonna settle in for the night, catch up on some rest. Tomorrow I need to cover more ground, so I'm gonna head north from here, do some more exploring, and seek out one more campsite before I wrap up the episode. So I was traipsing around in some brush this morning behind the van by a fallen tree, and I got stung by 2 bees. So that's how my morning started. All right, let's try the day again. I'm heading north out of Gifford-Pinchot National Forest to the town of Packwood, Washington, where I'm going to top off on diesel, maybe grab a bite to eat for lunch if I see someplace interesting. If not, I've got plenty to eat in the van. After that, I'm going to venture back into the National Forest, farther to the north, closer to Mount Rainier, and find one more place to camp for the week. I'll spend the night there, wherever that may be, and then I'll head into Seattle to pick up Shannon. I can't wait. It's going to be wonderful to share this adventure with her. Let the record show that I wanted to try Packwood Brewing Company, but it's supposed to be open. There's a sign on the door that says today opens at 3. I don't have time to wait, I'm afraid. I'm hungry now, and then I have to find a place to camp. So plan B it is. I love Mexican food, so I ate at Nacho's Mexican restaurant and I had a chimichanga, which tasted great after spending a few nights in the mountains. It had rice, beans, sour cream, guac, and it really hit the spot. Here it is, Mount Rainier. When I got here it was obscured by clouds, but as the clouds cleared, I was surprised by how it just kept going up into the sky. I mean, yeah, that's what mountains do, but it's staggering to see its size and its grandeur in person. So 3 mountains this week, Mount St Helens, Mount Adams, and Mount Rainier, when you can see it. This campsite that I picked out tonight isn't really that much of a campsite. Gross! It's just a pull-off at the side of this forest road way up in the mountains. I found a number of much better campsites all around, but none of them have the crystal clear view of Mount Rainier that this little pull-off has. Normally I wouldn't camp somewhere so obvious, right at the side of a forest road like this. There's the potential for traffic, dust, and personal safety. I like to tuck myself away much more than this. But the view, so I'm making an exception in this case. I've been here for about 3 hours so far. There's been no traffic. I think it's going to be a quiet night. Alright, so I'm going to call that a wrap for this episode. If you're interested in retracing my steps, my detailed GPS data is available to Patreon subscribers and to paid members of Venture4WD.com. Before I conclude, important announcement, something different. Since Shannon got off work and she's joining me for the rest of this extended trip, I'm going to deviate from my published schedule a little bit, and while we're out doing this, I'm going to focus entirely on recording. So that means the next episode of Venture Forward is postponed while we're out here exploring together and collecting experiences. We estimate that my next video will be published on Saturday, September 3rd, 2023, but I'll post weekly updates just to keep you updated so you know where we're at and you have a good idea of our timeline. But adventure is afoot. It always is. Thanks for watching, everyone.